A 14-year-old boy named Ethan was bound to a float and abandoned 15 miles from shore by his own HOA, all because he dared to write a polite letter asking them to stop poisoning the neighborhood pond. Evelyn Harper, the arrogant HOA president, called it community hazing, and smirked as Ethan fought to survive in open water. She never imagined a GoPro would capture her every word or that Ethan would emerge from the ordeal to stand tall in court, with the world watching. This isn't just a tale of cruelty. It's about how one boy turned terror into a tsunami of justice, exposing a system of power and fear. But was this hazing gone wrong, or something far darker? Stick around, because this story will leave you questioning everything. Ethan wasn't like other kids. Quiet, awkward, with a heart too big for his lanky frame, he was the kind of boy who whispered goodnight to his stuffed turtle and cried at videos of stranded whales. Homeschooled not out of distrust for schools but because his gentle soul seemed too fragile for the world's sharp edges, Ethan loved frogs, algae, and old marine biology books stacked high on his nightstand. He wasn't loud or athletic, just a kid who noticed things others ignored. That's why he wrote the letter, a neatly typed note asking the HOA to stop using chlorine in the retention pond after he saw frogs dying, their tiny bodies scarred by chemicals. He read it to his mom, Sarah, 3 times, proud of his respectful tone. "Maybe they don't know," he said. "Maybe they'll want to help." Sarah smiled, unaware she just signed his name to a target. The HOA didn't just dismiss the letter, they mocked it. At their next meeting, Evelyn read it aloud, her voice dripping with scorn. "The eco kid needs to toughen up," one board member sneered. Another joked. "Tell him we'll stop when the frogs pay dues." Evelyn, perched at the head of the table, decided Ethan needed a lesson. That lesson came during the HOA's annual youth weekend at her sprawling beach house on the Gulf. Ethan begged to go, hoping to make friends. Sarah hesitated but relented, kissing his forehead and reminding him to reapply sunscreen. He promised to text. He never did. 5 hours after being dumped in the sea, the Coast Guard plucked Ethan from the water. They found him clinging to a crab trap buoy, his fingernails blue, skin torn, eyes glassy. He'd been tied to a small foam float, wrists bound with nylon rope, life vest barely fastened, and kicked off a speedboat with the words, "Swim back like a man, champ." Evelyn's husband, Roger, revved the engine and laughed as the boat sped away. The kids on board giggled nervously, their laughter burning like acid later in police recordings. Ethan paddled desperately, but the current was merciless. The sun scorched his skin, the cold water cramped his limbs. His float flipped, slamming his jaw against its edge. He went under, resurfacing to endless sky and water, no shore in sight. He screamed. No one came. By hour 3, Ethan was delirious, swallowing salt, his strokes more panic than purpose. Spotting the orange buoy, he clawed toward it, hyperventilating, thinking it was the edge of the world. When a fishing boat finally spotted him, he wasn't moving. The Coast Guard rushed him to a hospital, hypothermic and dehydrated, his feet shredded from scraping coral in a desperate attempt to stand. His core temperature was 93 degrees Fahrenheit, and his heart was erratic. The ER nurse didn't expect him to survive. "Where's my mom?" he whispered, voice faint, as if Sarah wasn't real anymore. Sarah didn't get the call until 6 hours after Ethan was admitted. The HOA never contacted her, not when he went missing, not when he was found, not when he was airlifted to the ICU. While she waited at home, making his favorite mac and cheese, the HOA claimed Ethan had run off, painting him as a dramatic teen. They didn't mention the boat, the float, or the wine they'd been drinking since noon. Sarah sat by Ethan's hospital bed for 48 hours, gripping his limp hand, watching monitors beep with his fragile vitals. His pale skin, cracked lips, and raw bruises mocked the word, lucky, the doctors used. Lucky he didn't drown? Lucky he was alive? To Sarah, it felt like a slap. When Ethan woke, his raspy words shattered her. They laughed. He described Evelyn pushing him into the water, smirking, saying, Let's see how long your activist lungs last. Grief turned to rage. Sarah drove to the sheriff's office, no sleep, no makeup, still in her tear-soaked sweatshirt. The officers listened but called it complicated. Undeterred, Sarah found a GoPro SD card from a neighbor's kayak, left on during the ordeal. The footage was chilling, Evelyn tying the rope, laughing. Relax, frog boy, it's just a swim. The shove. The splash. Ethan's small voice pleaded. Please, I can't swim that far. Laughter followed, then wine glasses clinking. Think he'll make it? Someone asked. Not my problem, another replied. Sarah uploaded a 1-minute clip online with the caption. My son nearly died. This is how it happened. #Justice for Ethan. Within 6 hours, it had 2.3 million views. News outlets called. Evelyn's name trended. The HOA called it a misunderstanding. But the internet wasn't fooled. TikTok exploded with the clip, Ethan's plea set to haunting music. Reporters camped on Evelyn's lawn, exposing her past, fining a grieving woman for loitering after a miscarriage, denying a veteran a ramp for aesthetic reasons. The DA, silent for days, filed charges: child endangerment, unlawful imprisonment, aggravated assault, attempted manslaughter. The courtroom was electric. Ethan took the stand, trembling but steady. I asked them to stop, and they laughed, he said. I thought I was going to die. The GoPro played, Evelyn's smirk undeniable. The jury gasped. Her lawyers hazing, defense crumbled. Then the HOA's vice president flipped, admitting Evelyn planned it to humble Ethan. The judge called it an egregious abuse of power. Evelyn got 14 years, no parole for 7. 6 others received 5 to 10 years. The Palmetto Dunes HOA dissolved, its immunity gone, its reign over. A week later, a letter from the Coast Guard arrived. They invited Ethan to be the first honorary member of a youth ocean safety and conservation program, not as a victim, but as a voice. Tears fell as he read it, not from pain but pride. I didn't think the ocean would ever feel safe again, he whispered. But maybe now it will. Ethan started volunteering at a sea life rescue center, cleaning turtle shells, releasing pelicans, and applying to marine biology programs. The pond was cleaned, frogs returned. Sarah joined the new neighborhood council, ensuring no more cruelty hid behind the laws. Evelyn sobbed at sentencing, her pearl necklace snapping, beads scattering like her crumbled empire. Her daughter, Ethan's age, disowned her, saying, She taught me about power, but only how to abuse it. Meanwhile, Ethan smiled at every frog he saw, a quiet vow. I made it. They didn't win. Justice wasn't just the gavel, it was the ripples, the community reborn, the boy who rose from the sea. What do you think? Was this a prank gone wrong, or a deliberate act of cruelty? Should hazing ever be part of community bonding? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We want to hear your take. Hit that like button if Ethan's story moved you, and subscribe for more stories that spark debate and inspire change. Let's keep the conversation going.